Hello and welcome to another Let's Play Heads Up. So we're against a guy from Estonia called Reza750. What's in the name, right? So our last opponent was a bit over aggressive, I think. Like he shoved with... Wow, we flopped the nuts. Please be bluffing here. He doesn't. So we'll try to gain some value. He does have something. So maybe he has ace queen or something. Nope, he just gives it up. Like we flopped the nuts, or a pretty nuts hand. 8-5 I'll play, see what he does. He folds. Having a sip of a drink here. 8-3 suited I'll usually fold. The old me would have probably played it, but newer me doesn't consider it to be a good hand. So he leads out with 20. So I assume he doesn't have a queen here. So if we raise it up to 60, he might fold, or it should give him some information about his hand. He calls and we hit our 8, so I assume our 8 is good here, especially 2 pair now. So let's go 125. If he has ace queen, he's gonna pay it off. But yeah, I think he had something like a 5 or something, maybe a flush draw. I want to draw to it for free. We have the not flush draw possibility. He bets half pot size as a c bet, but we are gonna give up our hand. 8-5, sure. King jack. So he leads out. It's really hard for him to continue without anything, and yet he's betting twice. So I assume he at least has jack or some kind of pocket, or is betting for value. I don't know, but I had 5-8. I wanted to try to take it away with bluff on the turn, but he leads hunting into me for another time, and I'm not willing to keep going there. So we're just gonna check this out. It's a really dangerous board. He didn't have anything, neither did I though, so checking out is fine. Ace queen here. He just calls, we'll raise it up, we'll let him know, hey, we have a decent hand. So seeing that he limped, that could have hit him. The ace obviously is a good bluff card, but we actually do have an ace here. He could easily put us on an ace, seeing that we made a re-raise on the flop. We have king 3 here, and the guy's a bit passive. Like, I find the guy to be a bit passive. So when he does do stuff, like he automatically c-bets, like every flop he has c-betted every single time. We have pocket kings. Please do not fold. We still have pocket kings. Please have something. So we'll call here, we'll just try to slow play. He either made 2 pair, which is possible, had something like a6, or ace queen maybe. Now we have 2 pair, so unless... If he has a 7, he has a 7. He actually made a flush, runner flush. Wow. Terrible by this guy to play like that. He tried to bluff our kings. We obviously tried to slow play them, and he made runner flush. Like I got a bit scared at the enter, but not because it was a flush, just because the board paired. I never would have put him on a flush, and it's a bit unlucky for us to get beat like that. Like kings getting beaten by 10-6. But that's what you get when you try to slow play hands. So this is a time he doesn't lead out into us, which is weird. Like he has led out several times, like dunk betted several times. So we can probably keep that in our calculations. Jack H, or I'll play the dealer button here. He's thinking about 3-betting, isn't he? Yeah. So we have a gut shot, we have a runner flush, we still have a runner flush. He checked to us, so he could either be slow playing something or just wanted to see a free card. Maybe I should have bet on the turn, but it's so easy for him to call there. Like ace deuce. I assume my 5 is good here now. The odds of him having an ace are pretty low. The odds of him having a check is even lower. Yeah. So now again he could have a flush, he could have a 4, so I'm willing to check it, just check. Obviously I didn't gain any information about his hand. I'll fold jack 7 for once. Like I'm not a big fan of these hands. I'm not a big fan of these hands either. It depends on what price we have to pay. but he folds in return. That's just as good for me. I'm actually a bigger fan of Queen 7, of course. So we flop 2 pair, so we'll just call here. We'll see if he dunk bets again. We'll raise it up, and he can decide to give it up. We make the nuts basically, or the second nuts, so we'll bet it a bit. Like we have showed a lot of regression, and it's hard for him to continue here. Let's hope he has decent kind of hand, maybe deuces even. But it does give up his hand. Like we had pretty nuts hand two-handed. If he had a better hand, that was just a cooler. So that's a pretty terrible flop for our hand, and we have to give it up. We could have tried re-raising him, but you never know. Ace-Jack, really good, so let's 4-bet him here, see what it does. He just calls, we get top pair and nuts kicker. So he's gonna lead out, we're gonna re-raise him again. He calls, a king comes, which is a bit dangerous. Like he could easily have ace-king here, so we'll check. He could also have a flush draw. I think if he puts us all in, we're still calling. And he did indeed hit a king. So again, he called with 2 overcards, which I consider to be a terrible play by him. He's now just gonna try to steal a bunch of blinds. Jack 3 I will fold. Like, I consider his king-queen call to be a bad call. Obviously not pre-flop, but post-flop. When he dunk bets and I lead out. So we're gonna shove here, we do have an ace, and he folds. So we are gonna have to shove a bunch of times. He limps. We'll just check here, like we could have shoved, but if he bets here, we're gonna shove. We have a straight draw. Or we're just gonna re-raise, like if he shoves, I'm still calling. Let's see what he has. He has aces, so open-ender, have to get there. He actually gets a full house instead. So yeah, I think our opponent played a bit bad, but got rewarded, like hitting, like calling there with queen, king offsuit, post flop. What is he hoping for? Either a king, a queen, or 10. So he has 10 outs. So he still has 40% if you calculate it like that. If he doesn't put me on a flush draw either. If he puts me on a flush, that takes away 3 outs of him. But it did have top pair, top kicker, like the king that came there did scare me a bit. I did check there, so I probably lost a bit of minimum. I maybe should have thought a bit longer about his river bet. But oh well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.